8 years
in immigration for 10 years.
Okay,
Correct.
that's nice.
Yeah.
So what took you into immigration?
So I actually went to school to be a prosecutor, attorney for the government to prosecute crimes. And then I decided to take immigration on the side because my father is an immigrant. I'm an immigrant.
Right.
I was born in Ghana, in Tema. So
Oh, really?
Tema, yeah. I'm a Tema girl.
Okay.
So it was originally just a side thing. And then over time, I realized just how much the need was there. And I had access to the information and access to the people who needed it, but the people didn't have the access to the information. So I decided to make that my full-time thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we know that when it comes to immigration problems, it's not just Ghanaians. It's like most Africans.
Absolutely.
And even the Polish actually struggle.
Yes.
The Indians too.
Yes.
The Pakistanis
Yes, I have
too.
clients that don't look like our complexion that are also immigrants in the United States, yeah.
Wow.
Anyone who's not from the country is an immigrant. So whether you're from Spain or whether you're from Canada, you're immigrating to the United States as well.
And they also have problems?
They also have problems.
Oh, wow.
They do. They do, yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
But it's like those of us from Ghana, we have more problems, right?
Statistically, yes. Only because of the history of people who have, for lack of a better term, abused the system. And so the U.S. immigration doesn't seem to be as trusting. Within their policies, it does specifically state that some countries' documents have no credibility. So, yeah.
Are we one of them?
Thankfully, I haven't seen Ghana, but there is another West African country that is
In
one of them.
Nigeria?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so they lack credibility with their documents.
Yes.
Oh, no wonder some of them come to Ghana to file.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about what one should actually consider when the person is trying to file or to apply for a visa.
So first, you want to establish that you will return, because that's the biggest thing any consulate, any embassy, irrespective of whether it's US or Canada or any country, wants to know, because you're a citizen of your home country first. And every country, for the most part, wants to protect their borders. They want to make sure that they're keeping the people who are in the country, keeping them alive, keeping them employed. And so they don't want excessive visitors or outsiders to come in. And so the main thing that most countries will look for is, are you going to return to the country of your origin after we allow you to come in?
So what do they use to identify whether this person will come or this person is going to stay?
Your significant ties to the country. So I can use myself as an example. So let's say that everything that I currently have in the United States was in Ghana, right? Let's say I have a business here, I have a family here, I have a husband and children here. You would believe I would come back because I have more things to come back to here in Ghana than I do to stay in the United States.
Okay.
So it's a balancing. So if you're going to the United States and they're asking you, what do you have to come back to? And you, let's say you're a young person, unfortunately you're not married, or maybe you're unemployed, there's a stronger likelihood that you will not return. That's the presumption.
Right.
So your goal is to establish that there's things here that I'll come back to. If you have a high bank account, you're making good money here and life is good for you, chances are you probably will come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to join the conversation, you can actually send your questions to 055-157-5757, 055-157-5757. We want to ask all the questions today because it's very difficult to get an immigration lawyer to even have a conversation with a person. I don't know how many of you have tried. Has anybody tried? No, not yet, because you're scared of how much you have to pay, right? Then you go and try, they bounce you, they'll be crying. So today's an opportunity for you to ask all the questions. So do send in your messages to us on 055-157-5757, 055-157-5757. Rhoda is a lawyer and actually an attorney for 8 years and somebody in the immigration for 10 years. So you have all the experience when it comes to that. Now, so if you're not able to establish that you're going to come back, what can you do? Because maybe you don't have a family here, you're not married, you don't have children here. How then do you do it?
Be specific with your intentions. So for every visa, there is a purpose. So let's say a person wants to go and get married to their fiance. I know most of the time, I think more so in recent times, we see the traditional marriages as just an engagement. But in the law, as far as US is concerned, that is a marriage. And so a person could do the traditional or engagement here and then try to file for a fiance visa and get denied. So make sure that your purpose for travel matches with the visa that you're applying for.
Wait, so if you do engagement, it's not fiancé, it's marriage?
It's marriage, yeah. A traditional marriage, a customary marriage in Ghana is recognized as a marriage, a valid marriage in the United States. So a person who does that and then tries to apply for fiancé visa would be denied because you're married, you're not a fiancé, you're a spouse.
And people don't know this?
They don't know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they just apply, they
Yep.
get bounced.
Yep. So they get there, and usually, and the interaction with the embassies is very brief, very, very brief. And more often than not, they don't tell you why you've been denied. Usually people call me and then I explain to them this is why, and they say, oh, okay, now I see. Yeah, because culturally, we may see it as just an engagement, right? But the US and Ghana have come to an agreement, and the US recognizes that as an official marriage, and so you wouldn't be able to get it.
I know somebody who got bounced because the person had a huge amount in his account and it was deposited within a short period.
Yes. Yes.
Why? But you said you want to see money in my account, so why are you bouncing me because of that?
Where did the money come from? That's the question. So if anything that seems as though it was done purely for the purposes of immigration will cause an issue.
Okay.
So if you're working a high-paying job and you're making, you're getting those kind of deposits on a regular basis, then yes, that's believable. But let's say, with all due respect, maybe you have meager means, you're not really making a high-paying job, and 3 days before your interview, here's 200,000 Ghana cedis in your account. That's a big red flag. Yeah.
What about 10,000? What about 10,000 Ghana cedis hitting your account? Is that also a red flag?
It could be if you have an explanation for it. It depends on the officer. It depends. If it's a gift, fine. But in situations like that, you should tell the person, have a reasonable explanation for where the money's coming from. You want to know the source, because it could also be viewed as what activities do you plan on engaging in the United States. Are you trying to transfer money through your account? Things of that sort. They don't really give you the benefit of the doubt. In the United States, if you're arrested, criminal law, generally there's a benefit of the doubt, innocent until proven guilty.
Okay.
But that doesn't apply with immigration. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what if you are applying and, within the period that you're applying, you get a case? What happens? Will you be denied as well?
Get a case, meaning?
Maybe, I don't want to use the word criminal case, but maybe somebody reports you to the police. And, you said not proven guilty until proven, not guilty until proven guilty.
Correct.
What happens?
So the U.S. sees it as, and most countries will see it as, they have the right to protect their borders, and they don't want anyone who is affiliated with crimes to enter the country. And so for U.S., that could be seen as grounds for inadmissibility, meaning we can't admit you into the country because of what it is that you've allegedly, engaged in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm learning so much today because I'm just asking myself that, you go in there, you're so innocent, but do they investigate you?
Oh, absolutely.
Before you even go for the interview?
Absolutely. Yeah, yes. So if anyone who's ever filed for a visitor's visa to the United States will notice, I think within the last 3 years, that it asks for your social media handles. And they're not asking for that because they're bored. It's, for every question, there's a purpose. Yeah.
So what do they do with your social media handle?
The same thing anybody else would do. They go and look at it. Yeah. So let's say you're saying you want to come to the United States to visit, right? But then all over your social media is maybe this girl or this boy that you're planning on marrying. They're looking at your application that says visitor's visa, but they're looking on your social media page that says you have a boyfriend or girlfriend who's a U.S. citizen. Are you really going to visit, or are you going to get married? Exactly.
So at this point, you have to delete the pictures there. But will you be able to retrieve it? Because you people, you are the
archive, right? Archive is a thing.
Yeah. You're able to retrieve all of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the U.S. federal government, right? Everything comes back down to the federal government. They have access to everything.
So we have to be very careful what we put on social media.
Absolutely.
So if you speak negative against the country as well, you are not likely to get the visa. Is that
possible? Because the questions, they ask you that, have you ever been engaged in any sort of terrorist activities? Or, are you coming to the country to engage in polygamy or to gamble or excessive drinking? These are questions that are actually on the forms. And so if you say no, and then your page shows that you're anti-US, the consulate's not letting you in. Yeah.
So, for these investigations that are done, one would be wondering if that's a reason why, the risk appointment date, now it's gone a bit further than before.
Yeah.
It used to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right.
Now it's like a month, 2 months and all. Is that the reason for it?
That's not necessarily the reason. There's a significant backlog, and I feel I've been saying that for 4 years since COVID. Every consulate has how effective and efficient it is. And unfortunately for some countries, it's not, I wouldn't say the most efficient, but they have a lot of work more so than other countries. A country like the United Kingdom, you don't have many people trying to immigrate or visit from there. So their embassies are usually moving at a faster rate, whereas Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Kenya, and neighboring countries have a lot of people looking to travel. And so you're having, especially when the COVID happened and embassies and consulates shut down, you have that backlog still sitting there waiting, and then people who are still applying right now is also adding up. So the backlog has been there for a bit, and maybe there for a couple more years. Yeah.
There are types of visas. Which one is the most commonly, applied for?
B1, B2, your visitor.
Visitor.
Yeah, visitor visa.
Okay,
yeah.
B1, B2.
Yeah, so B2 would be if you're going for tourism purposes, for medical purposes, and then let's say graduation. And then B1 is more so business related. So if you want to attend a conference, maybe you want to come to a journalist conference in the United States, you'd come on a B1.
All right. Yeah. What about the work visa?
So work visa is a completely different world. The primary thing for that, you need an employer. You need an able company in the United States willing to demonstrate to the US government that they can't find an able worker in the country. Before, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So they have to check and see if there's anybody able in the whole of America?
Yep. Yeah, there's a whole process. It's a pretty lengthy process, which is why some would say employers are not too keen on filing for international workers. Again, to my point before, because every country wants to protect their citizens and wants to make sure the jobs are staying in the country. And so before a company will hire someone from Ghana or from any other country, they have to prove to the US government, to the Department of Labor, that there's no one else that you could hire that's a permanent resident or a citizen before they can even give you the job. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But if you're really qualified and it's a really specialized area, then you stand a good chance.
So when we talk about specialized areas, what are we talking about? Is it like the medical field? Which is it?
So medical right now, the Department of Labor has actually established that there's a shortage of nurses. So registered nurses who hold a bachelor's degree, America's waiting for you.
Wait, do we have some nurses here?
It's not too late to go and study. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then your science, technology, engineering, and math. California, the West Coast, where Apple, Google, those companies are. Those are the kind of areas where you're most likely going to be able to get a work visa.
What about producers?
Well, it's possible, right? So let's say we wanted to take changes to the United States. You could, yeah. You'd have to, establish your background, your years of experience, and then prove to the government that you're of national interest in some way.
But there's a bigger opportunity for the other sectors, like you mentioned.
Correct.
Medical field, the maths and science field, and those things.
Yes.
The technology
engineering,
field.
Those are big ones. Yep.
Wow. So you urge more young people to go into those sectors?
If you're looking to if you're here right now, and let's say you're thinking about what major to choose because your goal is the United States, and yeah, that's definitely a curriculum that you want to pursue. I find that people who even come to the United States on a student visa, those who come to study those kind of, whether engineering or math, have a clear shot to permanent residence. Many of them graduate and they are able to get what's called H-1B work visa because there's a high demand for what they're doing. Yeah.
What about those who want to join the military? Is there space in there as well? Is it easy?
Well, you generally need status. So you need lawful status to join the military. I know back in the day they would grant you citizenship and all of that if you were willing to join the military, but it's changed a bit. When I say easy, I've never gone through the training, but I imagine it's a little rigorous.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to get in there,
yeah,
you apply because you want to go into the military, so it gives you access to the country. Is that easy for you to get?
You would have to have some sort of official, either lawful permanent resident status first before you can get into the military.
Oh.
Right. So I couldn't come to the country as a visitor and apply to join the military. I couldn't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you have to have?
Some sort of permanent residence. So let's say I go to school, and then maybe I have either someone petition for me, or if I decide to work for a company decides to petition for me. That's one way you'd be able to. Yeah.
So it's not like the past, because
not
back
the
in
past.
the day,
Yeah.
you could just join the military.
Yeah.
Now you have to be working.
Yep. I believe some sort of status before you can do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about a student visa?
So that's a highly sought after visa for obvious reasons. It has great benefits where you're able to get a U.S. education. You're able to get work experience as well, because most students are able to get 1 year of post optional practical training is the big term that it's called, but you get some work experience after you graduate for a year. Depending if you're STEM, so let's say you're science, technology, engineering, and math, you get up to 2 years. So you can finish your master's in 2 years and then stay in the United States for another 3 years. Usually people fall in love at that point. And then the person they fall in love with usually files for them and they unfortunately never come back to Ghana.
But there are people who stay even when nobody has filed for them.
That is true. And most of them are my clients. Yes.
So how do these people manage to get a visa then?
It
or the
depends.
permanent stay?
It depends on where they are. I tell people that, not having status in the United States is not a death sentence. Obviously, I'm not going to advocate for going out of status or committing an immigration violation. But, there are some states, like the state that I'm based in, Massachusetts, that recently, as of last year, allows people who don't have documentation to get driver's license for at least 5 years.
Okay.
Right? There's some states like New York, which is very immigrants friendly, that allows people to work in some situations, to drive. If you're driving Uber, Bolt. I mean, there aren't Bolts in Ghana, in America yet, but Lyft and those kind of companies. But it's not easy because you're essentially living under the shadows, and you're always at. Thank you. Always at risk of deportation at any time.
Wow. Get your questions ready. You'll be anybody who has questions. I'll come to you. You have. You also have. And do you have? No, today. You have questions? Hey, then today the questions are a lot, but I'll come to you. You all want to travel, eh? Yeah. We understand. we do understand, Pap. So what about somebody who is married, lives in Ghana, but the partner lives abroad? How can the person apply for, what does the person apply for, first of all? Because some people get confused as to what visa to apply for and what not to apply for.
So if you're married, obviously fiancé is completely out the question. You want to file for a spousal visa. So the person in the United States is the one that would start the process. So there's nothing that initiates, as far as immigration is concerned, for the most part, without a U.S. involvement in some way. So the person would submit the application and let the U.S. government know that they are a U.S. citizen and that their spouse is abroad. And then that application is sent. You essentially have to prove that your marriage is real. That's another thing. Yeah.
Right. How do you do that?
It varies.
You have to live with a person. You have to live with a person for a certain number of years and all of that?
It depends. I mean, if the person lives here, obviously, you can't live with them.
Yeah.
But every relationship differs.
Okay.
There's some relationships that they take a lot of pictures, they travel a lot together. So obviously, that would be proof that their relationship is genuine.
When you have children, they do DNA?
That has happened, yes.
You have to do DNA?
In some situations, I have had. I have had people, I've seen it more so with fathers, when a father is being petitioned for by their child. There's a request for DNA. I've had once that a woman had to prove that they were related, yeah.
What if it comes out negative?
I've actually had that happen before.
It happened?
I've had that happen before.
And what did they do?
Thankfully, I didn't have to handle that case because I wouldn't have known what to do, to be very honest. I mean, it was a very sad situation. I think there was more details that the person didn't offer. But yeah, we've had situations where the DNA testing was not what they thought it would be. Yeah, and in that case, immigration says, okay, obviously you're denied, but now you have a family that has to sort this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so first question, my darling.
So my question is, the VOs normally ask inside the question rooms and
So it depends on what you're applying for. So let's say if you're saying you're going to go visit, then it's going to be questions as to where are you going to visit, who will you be staying with, what will you be doing. If you're, let's say, applying for school, then it's going to be school-related questions, right? If you're studying, let's say, something like engineering, they'll ask you, what was your bachelor's in? And if your bachelor's was in veterinary science, the question is going to be, what's the correlation with that in engineering? So it all depends on what you're applying for. That would determine the kind of questions that you'll get.
Yeah. Another question is, so let's say...
Speak up a bit.
Okay, so let's say someone came for the visa and the person was being given, let's say, 4 years bachelor's degree, let's say 4 years, and the person was given like 5 years. And the person was like, okay, after my education, I'll be coming back to Ghana to, let's say I have this company A to work with. So they've given him the visa and the person is gone. So after the person's education and the person, let's say he or she gets company A in the US to work with, like, would the person be denied, like, would the person be like deported or something after the person gets in that visa or something? Like, I don't know if you do understand my question.
Just to clarify, so if I apply for a student visa for a bachelor's degree, and let's say I plan on coming back to apply my bachelor's degree here in Ghana, right? But then I get a job in the United States after I finish school. If I decide to stay, would I be penalized?
Yes, staying.
No. So, because your intentions can always change.
Okay.
Right? A person can genuinely say, I'm only going to America for this graduation. Then they get there and they're like, I really like Harvard. I've always wanted to go to school. Now I'm here, and they apply and they get in.
Okay.
They could easily change.
What if you're denied and you decide to still stay?
Oh, then you'll really need me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, yes. Who wants to ask a question? Yo, she wants to, right?
So my question is, how many times can I apply for a visa? In a year or in a month?
Depends on how much money you have, because it's not cheap. I believe right now it's $190.
Right.
And so, and it also depends on the reason why the person was denied, right? If you were denied because they said that you didn't prove that you have enough money, if you're able to get enough money within that time frame, then go ahead and apply again. If you were denied for, let's say, they don't believe the purpose for which you're going, if you told them you're going to a wedding and the wedding was supposed to happen, in a month, that same month, well, now you can't really apply again because your reason for going has passed. The wedding has happened and you weren't there. So it all depends on your reason for applying. But generally, you want to give yourself a couple of months because when you apply for a visitor's visa, they assume that you want to leave and never come back. And so if you're applying consistently, you're telling them, yes, indeed, you just want to jackpot.
Okay.
Yeah, you just want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So don't apply too often.
Right.
Because they'll think that you really want to leave.
Right.
So sometimes they test you, right?
Oh,
By
absolutely.
denying you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. They usually don't tell you why they deny you. They give you that 214B letter, some people are probably familiar
They
with.
test you to see, is she going to
Yeah.
come back?
Yeah.
She's going to pester us. That will tell us that
Yeah.
she's not coming back.
Because everyone who submits an application for a visitor's visa is presumed to have what's called immigrant intent, meaning you're just trying to leave.
Ah.
Yeah. So if you keep applying, they'll say, yeah, we thought so. We were right. Yeah.
Wow. What if you just want to visit?
You can. I mean,
Yeah,
people get it.
Yeah, and some people can't take no, so they keep on pushing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I just want to stay. It just means I just can't take no.
Right.
But they'll still deny you.
Yeah. 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 And it's painful. It's a painful denial, but yeah. Some people are resilient. They try it again, and they are successful. The thing, the sad part is that when they finally do get it, they don't come back.
Why will you?
So then it proves the point of the consulate that we knew you weren't going to come back.
Right.
Exactly.
So what happens to those who don't come back?
It depends on what they get themselves into in the United States. If they end up getting married and their partner petitions for them, then nothing. They get permanent residence. Some of them become citizens and come back to Ghana to visit. But if unfortunately they don't have a petitioner or an employer or anything like that, they literally live under the shadows. Yeah. And some just stay there for years.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I think the main thing is people want to fill the form.
Right.
When they have the form in front of them, how do they start with the filling of the form?
The truth. The truth. Anything that you can't prove for the documentation is an issue. Because you're going to fill out the form subjectively. You want to get approved. So they know that. So you're going to say just about anything to get that approval. So you want an objective document that has no bearing or has no influence by you whatsoever. So and sometimes people call my office and say, if I get a letter from my cousin in America, or the worst one I get is if my wife or my fiance writes an invitation letter for me, will I get approved? No, you won't. You won't, yeah. Because your fiance, if they're a U.S. citizen, can file for you.
Okay.
And you're asking to get a visitor's visa. The officer knows you're going to go get married.
All right.
But you're saying you're going to go visit. And so here you are basically offering evidence that you think will be helpful, but it's really detrimental to your case.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So I want to travel. I might not have everything. Where do I start from? I know I'm picking the form, but what else?
Call me.
Okay.
But you want to get the right information, right? I usually ask people if you've ever filed for anything before, get records of that, because you may have forgotten what you put on your application 10, 15 years ago, but the U.S. government does not forget. Okay. There's a specific form that I can have an individual fill out and sign, and the U.S. government would send me every single record associated with that person's immigration case since they ever left Ghana. And so if you've been in America for, let's say, 25 years, the day you left with Ghana Airways, Let's Go to Car Airport, all of that, the time is there. And so if you're filling out an application, you want to be consistent because the truth does not change.
Okay.
Right? So if your birthday is January 7th, it should stay January 7th throughout the entire process. Any discrepancy, any inconsistencies will usually cause an issue.
What if you change your name, your identity? Will they still be able to trace you?
The forms actually ask you that. Have you ever used any other names ever? Yeah. So you're supposed to list it. So let's say my name today is Rhoda, but tomorrow I want to apply as Ifya. That's also my name.
Okay.
The form will ask you, are there any other names that you go by or that you've ever used?
What if because you've been denied, so when they ask you, you want to say no, will they still be able to trace you?
At some point you'll get fingerprints, and yeah.
Hey.
And then it matches. Yeah. I've had a few of those cases. I handle pretty complex cases like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you get the form, you get what? Your bank account details,
Correct.
right?
Right.
What's the minimum you should have in your account?
Depends on where you're going,
Okay.
right? Because there's certain, United States is big, 50 states. Depends on if you're going on the West Coast, if you're going on the East Coast. West Coast is relatively expensive. California, thereabouts. So if you are planning on staying for a week, your funds should be able to cover the entirety of your stay. Now,
What's the minimum you should be having in your account?
For, let's say, somewhere like Massachusetts, if you're going to stay for maybe a month, I would say, depending on if you're staying at someone's house. If you're going to stay at a hotel, your average hotel is maybe like $150 on average. For a month, I want to say maybe $3,000.
$3,000 in your account to apply.
Comfortably, yeah. Because the reason why the money even matters is they want to make sure you won't go to the United States and take an American citizen's job.
Okay.
That's the thing. So if you're not, because if you don't have enough money to cover your stay, the temptation is there for you to do what? To go work. And that work could easily become a U.S. citizen or permanent residence job, and now you've taken it, and so now the country's people are at a loss. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So minimum of $3,000 in your account.
Generally, yeah.
Generally.
Yeah. It could be less. I mean, if you're going to stay for a week, you're going for a wedding, and you're coming right back, I mean, you have your dress, you have your food, you're good.
Did they take into consideration what you used to buy the tickets as well?
As in the amount of money that you...
Yeah.
Not exactly. Not exactly, because if you have money, you have it.
Okay.
If you don't, then you don't. And so if they see that maybe the last major purchase made from your account was the ticket that you purchased, then it could cause an issue, because it means you can't afford your trip.
Do you have to have a property?
In Ghana?
Yes.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, right.
No.
Okay.
No. There's nothing really specifically required, because, like I said, it varies from person to person. I may be a young person living in my parents' home who started a business. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a business here. I don't have a home in my own name, but I have a business that's thriving. That could be enough grounds for me to return to Ghana.
I think one of the challenges for most Ghanaians, because of COVID, the dates keep shifting forward.
Yes.
Is there a way you can, probably get a closer date, or the system just gives you the date and that's it?
So what you see in the system is basically what they say is available. You can always request an expedited interview depending on the reason for traveling. So let's say if, the cases where I see that they actually will allow you an early interview is if someone's dying, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, so death or significant medical conditions will be reasons why they may try to give you an early interview.
Right. If not, you have to stick with what the system is giving to you.
Yeah, and you're able to change it. I mean, some people go back on and to check to see if someone has changed and there's an early available dates there. You're able to change it, I believe, up to 3 times. Then you have to pay again.
What if you are going and you don't know anybody in that country? However, you still, might not have that kind of, you don't have property in Ghana, you don't have anything, but you still have the $3,000 in your account, though.
There's a good chance that person could get denied, especially if you have no real purpose for visiting the United States, no strong ties to Ghana. That person likely.
So you should have somebody in the United States.
Depends on who the somebody is.
Okay.
I usually tell people if somebody can file for you to get permanent residence, that person could also be the reason why you don't get approved.
How?
Because they generally don't want, so let's say I'm a U.S. citizen and I want to file for my child, right? My child comes to the United States. I can petition for my child to get a green card in the United States. Now, I could do it from here. It would take about a year and a half or so for my child to come to the United States.
Yeah.
But if my child is already in the United States with me, it could be done in 6 months. And so the same process that would take a year and a half could be cut short if the person is presently in the United States with you.
Wow, I have so many messages that have come in.
Oh, wow.
Aha! Wow, okay. So we are going to start reading our messages. No, this is not the first one. We'll try and get the messages and read them. So many messages are coming in. People have a lot of questions. with regards to immigration. If your partner is an American citizen but lives here in Ghana, can your partner still file for you?
Partner lives here.
Yeah.
They can file for you. The issue that they may have would be proven that they're actually residents or domiciled in the United States.
I don't understand.
So because if you're filing for your partner to get permanent residence, presumably you want them to join you in the United States.
Or what if you live here?
Then there's almost no purpose in them filing for permanent residence.
Oh, really?
That's the thing, yeah.
Oh, wow,
There's a
okay.
component that requires that the U.S. citizens show that they actually do live or have ties to the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Which type of visa do I need to get the process started? Oh, somebody said, how can I join the U.S. Army from Ghana?
Yeah, you'd have to get permanent residence first.
So you can't join the U.S. Army
Not
if you live
anymore.
in Ghana?
No.
Unfortunately, okay. Good afternoon. I'm following the talk on visa application, and I would like to ask about issues with names. If your name isn't consistent, but you have a gazette, will that be accepted?
I would have to know what a gazette is. I'm not sure.
The
what that-
gazette is when you change name.
Oh, okay, so you do a name change? Yes, as long as you can document that you've officially changed your name legally, then yes.
Yeah, so the
Yes.
gazette is that is what the gazette is. Okay. Hi, my name is Emmanuel from Tema. I want to ask the lawyer that I learned if someone has tried visa lottery several times and he get the opportunity to travel for a conference like a week or two, that person is very likely to be bound since he has expressed interest in staying in America through visa lotteries. How true is this?
Yeah, so it's a tricky question because, and I've looked it up, especially because the diversity visa lottery opened up about last week. So merely applying for the visa lottery does not necessarily prove immigrants' intent.
Okay.
Now, if you've done it several times, then there's presumption that you really are trying to go to the United States. But just one application by itself has been stated that that's not enough. Now, if you get selected and you start the process, then yes, that would be immigrants' intent. And so if, let's say you get denied for the lottery, and then you try to apply for a visitor's visa, they could say you want to go and stay. So it's possible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you all. I'm watching you from Tech. I love your program. God bless you all. Thank you so much. God bless you too. All right, so hi, can we please get her WhatsApp number? Don't worry, we'll put her number out before we end the show because she actually has a program that she's about to organize for you to be there and get to learn more about immigration laws because you need to be there. Good afternoon. Please, how can one become a lawyer and not just a local lawyer, but international lawyer? Abdul Rahman.
So that's a loaded question.
Okay, so this one says, please, can an SHS graduate give a visa application to study abroad?
So they do have a visa like that. So this is J1 visa. It's an exchange program.
Okay.
Usually government funded either by the U.S. or by Ghana. So a person in school could try to do a study abroad, but you wouldn't be able to stay permanently. You'd have to finish your studies and return to Ghana.
Right, and you can work?
Not in those situations, mostly. And it depends on the program. It depends on the specific program that you're engaged in.
Okay, right. So you can keep the messages coming. It's on 055-157-5757, 055-157-5757. Hello, good afternoon. Please, my question is, does age matter when it comes to applying for school? I'm just SHS graduate and I'm very early in my 30s. Can I apply for the university at this age, please? My name is Belinda from Kumasi. Belinda, you're in SHS and you are 30. How are you in SHS and you are 30 years? Hey, okay, maybe she was writing 20s.
Yeah, you know, that's funny. Age doesn't matter per se. It depends on what you're filing for. You know? So if you're, 30 and you're applying to, let's say, go to high school, there's a chance you may be denied because they don't believe you're really trying to go to high school.
Right.
If you're 30 applying for maybe another bachelor's degree or another master's degree, then yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's a possibility. Hello, I'm Angel, watching from Nigeria. My first, this is an interesting show and very educating. Please, you mentioned countries that most science-inclined individuals can easily get accepted to. What about the art-inclined? I mean, like the sociologists. And, is it possible for someone out of the country to get admission in university for someone in Nigeria? The Nigerians are watching.
I see that. Hello, Nigeria. So getting into school in the U.S. generally has nothing to do with immigration, just based on the school's requirements. So if it's an SAT or if it's a medical school MCAT that they need, if you meet the basic requirements, you'll get into the school. The visa portion comes into play where after you've gotten into school, now we have to prove that you're actually going to America generally to attend this school. But I think her question was where to apply to. You can apply to any school, basically any school.
All right. Okay. So, any questions here? Yeah. Okay. Please go ahead.
So if an American decides to adopt a child from any country, African country, is that accepted?
So that happens often. Immigration through adoption is a little complex. The age of the child matters. That's the thing, because after a certain age, you can't necessarily adopt the person anymore. And also, it has to be formal and legal adoption here in the country of Ghana or wherever the adoption is occurring, and it has to be done properly. If it's not done properly, then the U.S. citizen can't even file for the child. Yeah.
The age.
Yes, so 16, if the child is over 16, the U.S. citizen generally cannot adopt the person, yeah, unless the child has a sibling that's being adopted as well, a younger sibling, yeah. Yeah.
So you can, at 16, that is it?
You can adopt, but not for the purposes of immigration.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can still adopt you if you're 22 or however old they want to, but as far as filing for you as their child for immigration purposes, there's like age cutoff.
Right. What if you adopt? Okay, so back to the question that I asked earlier with regards to your partner being in Ghana, you are in Ghana as well, because I know there are some U.S. citizens who are married to people here in Ghana. They hope to, go ahead and file for them. Maybe they've seen this child and they want to adopt, but they're not filing yet. If they adopt now and they file later, it's still going to work?
That's probably even a better situation, because it's beyond just the adoption. You also have to show that you have lived in custody, in physical custody with the child for at least 2 years.
Okay.
So if you've adopted a child at the age of 3 or 4 and you're living with the child here in Ghana, and then maybe the child turns about, let's say, 15, and you want to start the immigration process, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, any more questions? Yes, darling. I think there's a hand at the back. Okay, you want to ask a question?
All right, so assuming I got a chance to study abroad,
Okay.
I mean in the US, and I'm done, I would love to stay there. What should I do to stay there?
Lengthy question. It depends. I'm going to give you the American lawyer answer. It depends. It depends on if you have an employer that wants to file for you after school. Depends if you've fallen in love while you were in school and your spouse wants to file for you. It depends on, what your credentials, are. Let's say you went to school to study and you have a PhD and you have experience. In that situation, you may be able to just file for yourself. So it all depends on what your circumstance is at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask if the visa lotteries, are they always approved?
Good question. So once you're selected, you stand a chance to start the process. But there are a lot of people that apply, and only 55,000 visas available globally. So it depends on what your number is. So let's say you're number 1,000, right? You may have a good chance of obviously getting the green card. But if you're down the line, though you've been selected, by the time they get to you, they may not be any visas available.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just being selected does not necessarily mean that you'll get the green card.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you get selected, but you don't get a green card.
Yeah.
So what happens? You get selected for what?
That's it. Your number was drawn. You check, you find out that okay, you haven't been selected, but it depends on where you fall in the roster. Like I said, 55,000 globally. There are a few countries that are not allowed, like Nigeria is not allowed, unfortunately. Jamaica, and I think Haiti, and a few other countries. But Ghana, thankfully, we're still allowed to. But if you get selected and you have a really high number, it means that there's a good chance that the visas could be issued before they get to you.
What do they look at when they're selecting?
Oh, it's random. It's a computerized system. Yeah, no one is selecting it or drawing it. It's random.
Okay. So your background doesn't really matter.
You just make sure that the information you put on the application is correct and it's accurate, and that's it. Yeah, and you qualify, yep.
Do you have an idea how many Ghanaians apply for visa in a year?
Oof, I know that statistic is somewhere. I haven't looked into it, but it's probably not as much as Nigeria.
Okay.
And I'm not to shade Nigeria, but the reason I say that is because that's why they're not allowed into the lottery, because there's a lot of immigrants that come out of those countries. So the countries that aren't permitted to participate in the lottery is because people immigrate from those countries a lot. And the whole purpose of the lottery is diversity. We want a diversified, America. So we want people that don't immigrate a lot to have a chance to come to the United
Oh,
States.
so Ghana, we don't immigrate a lot.
So
That's
they
what
say.
That's what
Yeah,
they say.
that's what they're saying.
So in the lottery, do you have a fair idea how many Ghanaians apply for the lottery?
I know a lot do.
A lot.
A lot do.
55,000?
Probably more than that. Yeah, globally, it's up. So many more people apply than there are visas.
Okay.
Many more people. I want to say upwards of 100,000 people apply for the lottery. From Ghana specifically, I don't know specifically what that
But
number would
globally?
be. Globally, it'd be upwards of 100,000, I would say.
Over 100,000?
More than what the
And
specific
how
amount
many
is.
visas? How many green cards are they to give in a year?
55,000.
They give 55,000
Correct.
visas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a set number.
So Okuto, you can try. any more questions? Yes, darling, you wanted to ask a question. Should we pass the microphone to you? Yes, you have it.
I wanted to find out if maybe you want to apply with SAT, does it hurry the process? Like, does it make the process quick? Like, if you apply for SAT with SAT?
So when you're applying with SATs, are you asking you're going to America to take the SAT test there?
No, you've taken a test in Ghana.
Ghana, okay.
Yes, and you're applying for like a scholarship to a
Okay,
school.
okay.
Does it mean your visa application, your visa process will be done faster?
Not necessarily faster, but you're in a better position to be
Oh, okay.
approved, especially if you get a scholarship. Because one of the things that they look for when it comes to attending school is, can you afford to pay for the school? So if you're able to get a scholarship, then you've addressed that part of the process. What will make your case move faster is if school is starting soon.
Okay.
So the school system in the U.S. generally starts in August and ends around December. So if you're applying for, let's say, the spring semester, which will start in January, and maybe your interview is not until February, you can request to have the interview moved up, because by the time your interview happens, school would have already started.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Last question. So let's say your visa.
You want to go, Pa? I
Yeah,
can
I
tell.
see that.
Let's say your visa process and you are being diagnosed with, let's say, some chronic disease.
Okay.
Like, will you be still being given the visa or something?
It depends on the disease, because most processes require medical examination. So before you leave the U.S., you have to submit yourself to an authorized medical examiner for them to test out, make sure that you're healthy, you're not bringing any contagious diseases to America. So if what you have doesn't fall under the list of, inadmissible diseases, then you may be permitted to go to America. It just would depend on, if that's the reason why you're going.
Okay, so that brings me to the women who are pregnant and want
Oh,
to have
yes.
children there. What about them?
So it's not legal. America is very aware of it, because there's this concept of, once you're born in the United States, you get citizenship by birth, right? And so they're very aware that people are coming to the United States sometimes to give birth. I mean, obviously, if you show up at, I can say, let me put it this way. You can get a visa here in the United States, which some people are able to do, because you can hide their pregnancy here.
Okay.
But getting the visa and then getting admitted into the U.S. are two different things.
Okay.
There are people who have left here pregnant with a visa and then get to the United States and get denied there. And then and that's even worse than
At
being
the
denied
airport?
here. At the airport, yeah. There's actually videos of an individual that's happened to, yeah. And it's worse to get denied there than it is to get denied here.
Yeah.
Getting denied here, you go back home. Getting denied there, you're either held at a detention center, either at the airport, and then put on the plane the next day to come back, but then you're banned from coming back for 5 years. Right. Yeah. So it's better to get bounced here than to get bounced there. So I say that because sometimes people will have a multiple reentry 5-year visa. So they may not need to go to the embassy for the embassy to know that they're pregnant. So they'll just, 8 months or maybe like seven months thereabouts, get on a plane and think that I already have the visa, I'm just going to the United States. If the officer looks at you, they can ask you questions. They're protecting their country. So they ask you questions about what is your intentions, what are you trying to do, how many months are you, things of that sort. If they get the sense that you're coming just to give birth to a child in America, you could get denied.
So it's not allowed?
It's not allowed. It's not allowed, no. Wow. To come into the United States to give birth, it's not.
Okay. So you'll be lucky if you cross the borders if you're pregnant?
Yes. Yes, and it depends on the term that you are. So if you're 3 months pregnant, you're barely showing, or 4 months pregnant, you're barely showing. Let's say you're 4 months pregnant, but you're asking to stay in the United States for 6 months, they will suspect you're trying to have the baby, because at that time you'll have the baby and then stay another month. But if let's say you're just 2 months and no one even knows you're pregnant, then you're usually fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see some messages that are coming in. Good afternoon. Please, I want to know if architects also have high opportunities to get a visa. What if I don't have any social media handles? What else will they require?
Then that's good, right? So the question asks if you have social media handles. If you don't, you just hit no, and then that's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, yeah. They ask for
We
them.
are deleting our pages. All right, so he asked about the architects as well.
Depends on how many years of experience he has and his background, but yeah, that's something as well.
Okay, please, good afternoon. Can someone give scholarship visa to study and work abroad? I think he's saying, please, can an SHS graduate give a visa application? Okay, we read it already. Good afternoon. Can someone give scholarship visa to study and work abroad? You can get a scholarship visa.
So that would be something similar to the J1 that I was talking about.
But
Where
to work abroad is where the question is.
to work abroad, no.
You can't.
No.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon. I have my bank statement, which is from June. I deferred my enrollment due to some delays in acquiring a date. Can I still go for my interview in January 2025 with the same June bank statement I used in acquiring my I-20, please?
So this person is trying to go for school. That's what the I-20 is for. If I'm the officer, I'm going to ask you, why do you not have bank statements from December? Right? Because your interview is January 2025. Why are you giving me June 2024? So. Yeah.
Okay.
They apply. It's common sense. That's literally the policy that they apply, and yeah.
Okay, please, does it mean going to nursing institution or tertiary makes it easier to get a visa?
Well, I didn't say that. If you have a bachelor's, if you're a registered nurse, and you meet all the general qualifications, yeah, there's a process for people to get visas in the United States. There's a real shortage, so.
Okay. This is very
This
important.
is a good question.
This is a good question.
Yes.
Is there a dress code for application of passport? Like,
I wouldn't
especially
say
when
there's
when you're going for the interview.
Right.
Is
I
there a
wouldn't say there's a dress code, but you want to dress smart.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is your picture is that's the first time the officer is going to see you. And so if you are applying for school, but you don't look up to be of school age, that could affect your ability to get approved. If you're, let's say, applying for a B1, a business conference visa, and you don't look like someone who even owns a business, that could be a reason why you get denied.
How do business owners look?
Usually a suit, dress shirt, something, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
America, in some cases, I love my country, but we're very subjective. Very, very subjective, yeah. How we see things is how we see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been given a U.S. visa before, which expired 5 years ago. I wish to use the courier service to apply for a visa, but the cutoff is for visas that expired 48
Right.
months ago. I meet all the other conditions, so can I still try the courier service?
No, because your visa would have had to be valid within the last 2 years, like the person said.
Okay,
So if it's,
yeah,
if it's expired more than that, you'd have to go for an interview.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think the courier service is one of the best.
The best things, yeah. You can thank COVID for that.
So now, when you're going for a visa interview, how do you prepare yourself to go for? Because you're going to meet them.
Right. So it's not even the interview day. It's the application that determines it.
Okay.
So by the time you walk into the officer's presence, they've already made up their mind about you. Yeah, yeah. So it's, and I know most times people get frustrated because you bring all the documents. I think someone talked about bank statements and
Do
everything.
you know the anointing oil we pour on ourselves before we get there? They've already made a decision before you go.
Yeah, most of the times, yeah. Because they don't have the time, right? And they already assume that you're going to come to get a visa and never return to the United States. This is for a visitor's visa. So your application is where you make your case. It's not so much as when you're sitting in front of the officer, because I think many people can attest to it. Very few chances do you get to actually speak to the officer or even explain yourself, because they've read everything that they needed to read.
But
Yeah.
so why then do you need an interview? You've made your decision.
To vet you, if there's anything that they need to clarify, there's anything that they need to make sure that is true or is accurate, yeah.
Can you change their mind with how you're looking?
You can.
You can?
You absolutely can.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the thing is, the officer may be 50-50, they may be in the middle, and your appearance, how you're able to articulate yourself. So I tell people often, because I get a lot of flack that I don't speak Tree well. I speak it to them, I can speak it. But when you're going to embassy, it's English that they want to hear, because it's English that you're going to speak in their country.
Right.
And so your ability to be confident and present yourself well, how you're dressed, all of that matters.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you can't speak good English, the problem.
I mean, the question becomes, how are you going to, communicate in the United States? That's not to say if you don't speak English, you wouldn't get approved, but you need at least a basic understanding of it.
Okay, you have
Yeah.
to understand. Well, any more questions? Because I'm gonna go into her program. No, you understand everything very well. Okay. Yeah, you had your hand raised. You want to ask a question? Okay. You say you look like what? You be bound. No, but it's not so, is it?
No, people get it.
get it.
Yeah. We've done a few for clients, so yeah. A lot of that, yes.
All right, so now let's talk about your program.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So tomorrow, actually, I'll be hosting a seminar similar to our conversation here, where I'll be teaching people the ins and outs of how to get visas, whether it's a student visa, visitor's visa, knowing the difference between fiance and spouse. Because like I said, some people think that traditional is just engagement. And then answering people's questions, clarifying a lot, because I've heard a lot of things that people think the immigration process is like, and some of it was true, like the Army question back in the day. But immigration law is very evolving, and it changes. Sometimes it changes with who's in the White House. And so even in this current administration, I've barely attended marriage-based green card interviews, because this administration has been more favorable to allowing people to just get green cards without the interview. Okay. That wasn't the case in the last administration. So the law is always changing. So the purpose of the program is to inform people, to clarify things, give them better understanding, and to debunk a lot of the yes in the community. So.
That's good. So where is it happening?
So Lancaster Accra Hotel tomorrow, and we have another one happening in Lancaster Kumasi Hotel next Wednesday.
Okay.
And it'll be at 7 o'clock, but doors open at 6.
Okay, so tomorrow at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.?
7 p.m. Please, I like to sleep.
So 7 p.m. at Lancaster.
Yes.
So how can one be a part of it? Do you have to register or something?
Yes, so we still have a few tickets left. So you can just contact my office. They're working around the clock today.
Okay.
So just shoot them a WhatsApp message and let them know if you want Accra or if you want Kumasi, and then they'll give you the steps for payment.
Do you have a flyer or something? We wish we had a flyer so we could have...
should.
Okay.
If not, this is the face on the flyers.
Okay, so it's tomorrow at exactly...
At 7 p.m.
7 p.m. at Lancaster.
Accra, yeah.
Former Golden Tulip.
Correct.
Yes. So you'll be there, and then, so for now, that's the number that they can call as well?
Yep.
Oh, please put the number
So
out.
it's +1, that's the country code, 508-439-4445. So that's +1 508-439-4445.
Wow.
And then just send a message and someone will respond to you.
Okay, right, that's nice. And where can they get a ticket? If they call the number, you can
Yep.
support them,
Yeah,
right?
just message a number, you'll get, it's a digital ticket, so you'll be able to get a digital ticket and then just show that at entry.
We want to go abroad. We don't want to be bounced. My guys, you guys have to go abroad, though. Oh, yeah, come you bring me dresses and shoes and all of that. It's very important. Thank you so much, Rhoda, for being
Thank you
here.
for having me.
We are super grateful. And tomorrow we'll all be there at exactly 7 p.m. But make sure you get there a bit early so you get a good place to sit, so you can ask all your questions. We don't want you to be bounced. Trust me, applying for a visa and getting all that, going through all the stress, paying and getting bounced is the most painful thing ever. So to prevent all of that from happening, make sure that tomorrow you are the event is happening at the Lancaster Hotel at exactly 7 p.m. Don't forget to call the number. She put out the number again.
1-508-439-4445.
So please mention it's. Let's go slow on the
Yes. So the country code is 001.
Okay.
And then it's 508.
508.
Yes. And then 439.
439. So +1 1 oh.
No, just one. Yep.
Okay, +1.
Correct. Yep. 508.
508.
Yep. 439.
439.
4445.
45.
Yes.
Now you have the number.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can call her. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here,
you so
Rhoda.
much for having me.
We've enjoyed this conversation, and I know they are definitely going to apply for the visa. You have to apply online, right?
Yes.
Online.
Yes, online only.
Fantastic. But if you have any questions, you have to be a part of this conversation. We want to take a quick break on this note. Don't forget that today we'll have a display of dogs doing their talent. They're going to be showing us what they've got. And also, we'll have Minister Paolo, who will be